Well, hello, everybody. Welcome into a Monday edition of the Computer America Show. Hopefully, all of you had a wonderful weekend, and we have a terrific show planned for you. Ben is here with us. Ben, how are you?
When am I not here with you?
This is very true. In the second hour, we're going to be doing computer and technology news. That's brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America. And in the first hour, we're going to take a look at your books. Aha. Yes. We're going to be talking to you about a company called FreshBooks. We have the CEO and co-founder, Mike McDermott, is here with us. We're going to be talking about that. Obviously, we're on the eve of tax day, but we're going to really get into,
1 minute until showtime.
Some of the best practices for keeping organized and how FreshBooks can help you maintain, well, quite frankly, your books and keep them fresh, as they say. So it should be a very entertaining show. And hopefully, again, all of you had a wonderful weekend, saw a great movie, whatever. And we will be starting momentarily here on the Computer America Show. So sit back, relax, enjoy 2 hours of the Computer America Show coming at you right here. Okie dokie. So it looks like we're all set. Less than 30 seconds to start. Right. 15 seconds. 10.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Zach.
Broadcasting live. It's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
It never stops, But welcome into the Computer America Show. Hopefully all of you had a wonderful weekend. And did some fun stuff. I mean, the weather here has been gorgeous. Of course, we're in South Florida. And also, well, Ben, you were up in North Carolina in one of our pilot offices. And how was the weather up there? Was it cool, chilly? I mean, how was it?
It wasn't bad.
Wasn't bad? Okay. All right.
Bad.
Good. So, again, here we are with another week of talk about computers and technology, and we have a really good show to start that week off. We have a terrific lineup of guests for the entire week. On Tuesday, it's going to be our Gamer Tuesday show. That's going to be a lot of fun. It is our Gamer Tuesday show.
Shouldn't be.
No, it is. It's one of our Gamer Tuesday.
It's one of our Gamer Tuesday shows.
Yeah, we're gonna have 8.
It's Tuesday, and we're gonna have gaming-oriented guests. So yeah.
That's right. So it is about games. Again, head over to ComputerAmerica.com. Go to our public calendar. You can see all the different guests that are lined up for the entire month, and it's updated on a moment-by-moment basis. Because hey, we're a live radio broadcast, and things happen. Things change at the last minute. It's what we do here on the Computer America Show. But we have a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll have a entertaining program for you. Now, in the second hour, we're going to do computer and technology news. That's brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America. And it's been a busy weekend. So lots of entertaining news stories and items that we'll be discussing with you. And in the first hour, we're going to look at your books. Okay, we're going to have you take a closer look at your books for your business, for personal. I mean, it's the tax time is here. It's the April the 15th is around the corner. What are you doing to keep your books up to date? We have FreshBooks here on the show on today's program. Mike McDermott is here. He is the co-founder and CEO of FreshBooks. He'll be joining us momentarily. So if you have any questions about now he's not a tax preparer. We're not talking about preparing your taxes. We're just talking about, maintaining your books, keeping records, that type of thing. And we'll be discussing that with him. If you have a question or comment, we'd love to hear from you. It's a live radio broadcast. 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. 347-884-8881 is the number to call. If you don't want to call, but you want to get a comment, head over to computeramerica.com. Any page there. On the upper right-hand corner, it'll say submit a question. It's a link. Just click on it. It'll take you to our question submission page. You can type in your question, hit the submit button, and Ben and I will see your comment or question instantaneously. That's how it works. It's amazing technology. The other thing you can do is also watch our show. We are a radio broadcast, nationally syndicated, actually global, but we also provide live video of our program. We've been doing it for quite some time now, and we invite you to participate. The way you do that is, again, go to computeramerica.com. Any page, you'll see the menu bar. It says Show Lounge. Just click that. You'll be instantly teleported to our live video stream, already in progress, and you can watch the show. You can see myself. You can see Ben. Sometimes you can see our guests. Certainly, Ben has the technology to display websites, videos, movies, links, that type of thing in the background. So you'll see everything that we're talking about. Just makes for a more enriched experience here on Computer America. Matter of fact, everything you need to know about Computer America is at computeramerica.com. That is the internet home of our radio broadcast. But as I said, 347-884-8881 is the number to call if you have a question for our guest. So, Ben, before we get started, anything I always like to ask you, especially at the beginning of the week, if there's anything, on your mind or anything you want to talk to our listeners about before we get started.
No, not this week. Not really. But, be sure to stick around for the second hour of the show because we'll be covering a lot of news stories. And, of course, we'll be covering in depth, sort of in depth, the, all the leaked documents that have been coming out of Panama, of all places.
Oh,
so we're going to be covering all that and really, getting into why that matters.
All right. Excellent. All right. Well, let's bring our guest on. I know he's been waiting patiently, and we'd love to get him on. Now, the name of the company I mentioned is FreshBooks. And with FreshBooks, you create professional-looking invoices, complete with your own logo. Isn't that cool? When you're ready to build your client, you simply send your invoice via email. You can download a PDF or print it with a single click. It's an amazing product. And here to discuss exactly how you and your business can use something like FreshBooks is FreshBooks CEO and co-founder Mike McDermott. Mike, welcome into Computer America. How are you, sir?
Hi there, Craig. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. So tell us a little bit about FreshBooks. When I hear FreshBooks, the first thing you think of, well, there are so many companies. I mean, there's Intuit, Quicken, QuickBooks. You can count a lot of accounting products out there for all different people. So why did you feel the necessary to create, another one? What's different about your company? Just can you give us our listeners a little bit of background on what it is that you're trying to do?
Yeah, so it may make sense to just start with my story, which is, I was working by myself, for myself and clients, working out of my home. And one day I accidentally saved over an invoice. I was using Microsoft Word and Excel to build my clients, as I know lots of people do. And effectively, I saved over that invoice and I snapped and said, there's just got to be a better way. Now, what most folks, and I said about building it, what most folks don't know is I'd actually studied accounting as part of the business degree I did in school. And so I had a knowledge of debits and credits more so than most people. But despite that, I still found accounting software really complicated and frankly built more for the accountant than for the small business owner. And so I wanted to build something that was right for me and others like me. And so that's what we did. And we built a really simple accounting software that's up in the cloud so you can use it on your mobile phone or your computer. And that's where it came from. It's really that simplicity, that ease of use, and the fact that it's built for owners, not accountants, that make all the difference.
Really? So say it again, it's designed for people who are not accountants. But for the everyday person, is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's right. Our vision is actually a world where self-employed professionals and their teams can successfully run their businesses without having to learn accounting. So our whole reason for being is to build a piece of software that's so simple you can run your business on it. And not, I mean, let's face it, people go to school for they study and get degrees in accounting. Like it is is a deep and long and you can go about as deep as you want to go in that field. And most of us go into business. I'll speak for myself, but to pursue a passion, right? Not because we want to learn or love accounting. It's because we have some passion. And mostly, like so many other things that get in your way when you're trying to pursue your passion, mostly accounting does get in the way. The difference is you got to be ready come tax time. So good to have something simple and appropriate for you to use to stay organized.
So it would be fair to say that FreshBooks is accounting for the non-accountant. Is that a fair statement?
I don't know if you visited our website. I think we have words to that effect there, Craig. But yes, Designed for You, the non-accountant, is actually part of our marketing. Yeah.
I mean, all right. Look, and let me just play a little bit of the devil's advocate here, Mike. And I'm sure you understand. I mean, as you mentioned, accounting is really complex and sophisticated and quite complicated. I mean, I understand you're doing accounting for the non-accounting, but where does one draw the line? I mean, medicine for the non-doctor. I mean, surgery for the non-surgeon. I mean, how far do you want? You know what I'm saying?
I think it's a fair question.
Yeah.
I think the first place to start is, I think there's a lot of people who think that accounting is this really black and white discipline, right? But the fact is that a corporation of 10,000 people needs very different accounting systems and controls than a corporation of one person. And so, so the first principle that I sort of have is like, hey, get the thing that's appropriate to you. And those businesses are generally, like the businesses of our customers are generally so simplistic that in many cases, people are either filing their own taxes or we encourage people to use a professional come tax time, but it's our belief that you shouldn't need to use someone so much as you run your business day to day, week to week, month to month. That can be very expensive. But absolutely, come tax time, I'd encourage any small business owner to seek professional advice. We actually have paying customers in 120 countries, but the USA is by far the most complicated tax code of them all. And so, if you're an American-based business, I'd say that's double true.
All right. So you are recommending for people to go to, let's say, an H&R Block or one of these QuickBooks or something that a service that you using a professional in a particular area, but you can bring all of your accounting information to that person with FreshBooks. Is that sound?
Yeah, it seems like you want something.
Point on it. I believe that, and I'll just speak from my own experience. When I ran my own business and worked for myself, and I was a team of one or up to a team of about four, I had an accountant, okay? And I would bring my things to that accountant at the end of the year, right? And so it wasn't a piece of software. I had a person I could talk to and ask questions. And I think accountants are a great place to get business advice. And I think more than anything, that's what accountants want to do. They want to help guide and advise you and not be like, kind of doing your debits and credits. That's they can do that, but I think mostly they want to help you steer your business. So I liked having an accountant at tax time, but then I'd place a couple calls during the year to get some counsel or to set myself up to make tax time easier. And I think having somebody there, which I don't think any piece of software can really replace, is important. So that would be my counsel, is have somebody, but then throughout the year, stay organized. And you're going to want to use the right piece of software, one that you understand and find easy throughout the calendar year to make tax time simple. And so you can have yourself organized enough to have a good conversation with your accountant.
Okay. So what are some of the biggest accounting related mistakes that you see with small business owners, let's say, making it in the first few years of business? What kind of errors are they making?
Yeah, so, I think high level, one of the most common mistakes is rooted in the fact that people generally start things, they don't make a clean break, right? They start off kind of with one foot in their day job and, one foot with this thing on the side. And what sometimes happens then is you'll do something like mix up your bank accounts and not have a discrete bank account for your personal expenses and your business finances. And I think it's actually really important to separate those two things. Just have a clear record. Just get two accounts. Yes, you're going to have to pay for two bank accounts, but it's a relatively small price to pay to have your information separated and organized. Another place people get caught up, and it's kind of stunning, and I guess part of the reason we're in business, but getting your invoices out and staying on top of your receivables so that you collect money and collect cash. And, if you work for a company and you're on payroll every month or twice a month, your bank account's being filled up. But when you work for yourself, you may have done the work, you may have billed for the work, but you may not have collected the money yet. And if you go too long without doing that, you can get into trouble. So really staying on top of your receivables is a big thing. And then I guess another thing is just keeping track of your expenses. And great news these days, you can automate that a lot. So using something like a simple cloud-based accounting software, which we're already nameless for this moment, you can actually connect it with your bank account and haul down your expenses, or use things like mobile applications like your phone, which you probably have with you all the time, to take a photo if you're at like a coffee shop or something like that, and capture that receipt and record the expense. I think staying on top of both collecting the money that's kind of owed to you and getting your invoices out the door, and then tracking those expenses as you go, set you up for a good end of year.
Yeah, I'm watching Ben. We're looking at your website, and I'm seeing a lot of images that are popping up. And I see like a mobile phone here. It says "Put your business in the palm of your hand," and there's an amount there. What is it that I'm looking at? What is that? It says check in from your website. It says,
it's a good question. I'm not sure what page you're on, but I'm going to presume you're seeing a photo of an iPhone with an image of our mobile application. So when I say FreshBooks is accounting software, but it's based in the cloud, what it means is, hey, your data is available from anywhere you have an internet connection, right? And you can download the version of FreshBooks that works on your mobile phone, whether it be Android or iPhone, or you can use your desktop and log into effectively our website. And so what you're seeing there is the mobile app. So think of it like Facebook has a website and a mobile app. Well, FreshBooks has effectively a website and a mobile app that you can use on your phone. So you can create an invoice on the go. You can go take your client out to lunch and capture an expense at the end of the meal, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so now how would you compare yourself with some of the other ones that are out there? I mentioned, QuickBooks. That's the one that's really very well known. There are a number of them out there. What is it you offer, let's say, that some of these other ones may not?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference between FreshBooks and any other accounting software is our focus. So we're designed for professionals, folks who get paid for their time and expertise, and their teams. Firms that are so small they have 0 to 10 employees. We have many people bigger than that using us, but that's really our core sweet spot. And what that means is we're designed exclusively for those folks. And so we're not designed for retail. We're not designed for restaurants. We're just designed for people who get paid for their time and expertise. And that one choice, it's a very strategic and deliberate choice, but we believe that folks who work for themselves, get paid for their time and expertise, they deserve accounting software that's designed and built for them. And by virtue of making the choice to not try and serve everyone, we can serve these folks really well, which means we can keep our product simpler, easier to use, and more relatable, which when you think about a domain like accounting, which is generally scary for folks, it's pretty nice to have that kind of simplicity on your side.
What kind of reaction are you getting? I mean, do people pull you over and say, "Hey, Mike, I am so glad that you've created something like the FreshBooks"? I mean, what kind of feedback are you getting from your customers, or is it too soon to call?
No, it's definitely not too soon. We've been at it for about a decade, and over 10 million people have used our software since we started. So we're not just,
right.
we're not just not a fly-by-night at this stage of the race.
Good.
But back to your question of like, what kind of feedback do you get? I'll tell you a little story. As I like to travel around, I for years now I have invited customers out to dinner. So I was speaking at a conference in Athens, Georgia, about 5 days ago, and took out 8 customers to dinner. and they were basically telling me what a godsend our product is, because the alternative is really not understanding the software and therefore kind of not using it, and then winding up in a place where you actually don't have the information you need and stuff's organized. And they really, really love, it's so funny, the folks who came out to dinner, not everybody calls us, but we're really well known for customer service. And a lot of these folks had called us over the years, sometimes 5, 10 times. Customer service is free. We really pride ourselves on it. We won a kind of a lot of awards and are an industry leader for it. But that's another part of the software that's kind of key, is being able to call people and get a hand when you need it. And again, speaking for myself as a small business owner, I really value service because I don't need it every day, but when I need it, I want to talk to somebody competent and get a good answer. And so I guess that was a big piece of what they said as well.
All right, so I have to ask this, Mike. You took all these people out to dinner, 8 different people. Did you mark it down as a business expense?
Sounds like they talked about business.
And did you use FreshBooks to record it? How did that happen?
Of course, and of course, yeah, it's definitely a business expense treating those folks. The whole trip was for me, I guess, hotel room and the rest of it. But no, it was really enjoyable. So, and yes, great to have an easy way to capture the expense at the end of the meal.
So that what you did. In other words, when you captured the expense, you actually pulled out your smartphone and you were able to log it or to put the receipts in, or did you wait till actually everybody left, or did they enjoy watching you putting it in since they know what it is that you do?
It's funny you should ask. Nobody remarked on it, but I think that's probably because they do the same thing all the time with their accounts. Truth be told, it's very common. Think of it's not a weird thing these days. I took some photos with these customers as well, and and they took some photos with me. So it's not weird to have a phone pulled out, and nobody made any comment. Let's put it that way.
Okay, all right, but you are using the application for FreshBooks to record expenses. Whether you take a picture of the receipt. I mean, what's the actual process? How do you record it?
What I do is okay. So here's the thing: we're 250 people. Okay.
Okay.
FreshBooks is not intended to be used for our business, but when I do when I get reimbursed for expenses, what I do is I take a photo of it, and I create an invoice, and I actually invoice our accounts payable department. So that's how we're using it in a larger company. Okay. I have my own FreshBooks account, and I submit my expenses as invoices to the business that get reimbursed.
Now, and I'm asking these questions, and I'm not asking to be cute. I mean, I'm asking because I'm kind of curious, and I'm sure our listeners are as well. So now, at the end of the year, do you hire a professional accountant to do yours, or do you have somebody in-house doing the accounting for FreshBooks?
Oh, well, both. Again, sort of being 250 people, we have a pretty, I guess, a relatively sophisticated business at this point, and so we actually use auditors, to sort of go through our financials. So I'll give a plug to PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers.
All right.
So we do a full-on audit, and we have an internal team with like a controller and accountants and things of that nature. And again, FreshBooks is not designed for a business of our size, right? FreshBooks is really built for somebody who's out working by themselves or with a team of 10 or less, and that's all right. We outgrew ourselves a long time ago.
Right. All right. So 10 or less. So that's a good marker. So that's a good idea. So then let me ask you: should any sole business owner, open a separate bank account using FreshBooks, or should they be using their personal account for this?
I think, what I would recommend is, as a sole proprietor, you have both a personal and a business account, and you're disciplined about which you use when, right? And so I would connect if you're using FreshBooks, I'd connect it to your business account. Right. And then, you can use your bank to transfer money into your personal account. And that's a good way for you to have a record of the flows of your business. Right. Because it gets very confused if you give somebody your personal checking account and a client deposits a check in there. And then you get at the end of the year, you have a little less of a trail for, where your income went.
Sure. Well, okay. Obviously, you've described you are an entrepreneur yourself. You've grown a small business into a really, I guess, what you almost call a global technology company with 10 million users around the world, 250 employees. So that's very impressive. I'm curious if you have some advice from your company's success that you'd like to offer fellow entrepreneurs, out there just starting to get their business started? What would you suggest to them?
Well, so first up, this is a area of great deal of passion for me. It's actually what took me to Athens, Georgia. I was speaking at a conference about just this, but in a shorter format here. I think it sounds simplistic, but it's so true. I think what I like to call knowing thy customer and staying close to your customer is invaluable. So I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they have or would-be entrepreneurs have great designs about building a big business, and then they may want to whether it's outsource customer service or speaking with their customers and kind of think it's maybe below them. And I find the best entrepreneurs in the world really love to spend a lot of time with their customers and truly understand their lives and their problems. And it's my personal belief that customers have all the answers for how to make today better, like how you can serve them better. And also, if you read between the lines and listen carefully, what they're going to want tomorrow. So that's how you grow and build your business in a sustainable way. So we spend a lot, actually, the small way we try and instill this at FreshBooks is everybody starts in customer service. They spend their first month there. And the idea is to get to know our customer and our product and ultimately our culture, but get to know our customers so you can make good decisions in your career at FreshBooks. So I really believe in that customer proximity. I'd also say, with the internet coming along, it's a wonderful thing. There's access to all kinds of information for people trying to go out on their own. But, sometimes you read an article and you might get to thinking like, that's the answer to all your problems. And if there's one thing I've learned is like, there are no silver bullets. The way to build anything successful is not to do one thing right. It's not one breakthrough moment. It's like a million little things that you just need to keep pushing forward in hopes that you get to that opportunity to have that, that big opportunity on your plate. So no silver bullets, just kind of keep on going, I think, and then just finally focus, right? It's for me, it's the 4-letter word in business, because if you don't focus, you're going to get into trouble. You got to stay focused and just keep executing. So not glamorous stuff, but I think those are the things that really differentiate successful entrepreneurs from people who say they want to start a business.
Okay, so why don't you give us a little bit more? I mean, obviously, you don't. Your product per se is this accounting system. Okay, that is your product. That's what you're producing. Most people are producing something else, either a service of some sort or a product of some sort. And it's usually the first couple of years that are really going to, I think, make or break a company, something. So why don't you take a few moments and share some of your advice on how, let's say, a small business owner can be more productive, let's say, in their first couple of years.
Okay, glad to do it. And by the way, I just want to be clear that I built a service business, the kind of customers we serve, before we started FreshBooks, the product business.
Oh, really?
And so they were both super steep learning curves for me. Yeah, we actually built FreshBooks to bill the clients at my service business. But that was my original business. So happy to speak about both and know the trials and tribulations in each one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, like the feedback, I think it's not too different, right? When you start as a services firm, I think that first client or that first contract is often the hardest thing. And, I have a real customer service nature and orientation. Whenever I'm serving my customers, I really focus on how can I just do an incredible job this time? So A, they come back, but B, they're going to lead me to somebody else. And I think, the question I'd be asking myself if I'm starting a service business today, it's like, how do I turn this first customer into 5 more, right? And, you do that by doing a great job for them. You do that by, helping them achieve great results, because that's ultimately why they're sort of paying you. And then hopefully they'll be happy to refer you to others, or like let you use them as like a case study or something like that as you try and sell, not sell, but like market yourself, I guess, to other folks who might need what it is that you do. But that's a huge part of it, right? It's just being maniacally customer focused.
Wow. Okay.
And honestly, it shows with your website, being the, as you have prominently displayed the award-winning support team. I know many, many other tech companies who really spend a lot of time and energy and effort getting the software to be as easy to use and as intuitive as possible, and that's great. But they really don't put they really don't put people on phones and say, okay, if anyone has a problem, go ahead and do this. Like they'll have extensive forum posts and blog posts about how to use their product and little tutorials, but like you can definitely tell that FreshBooks, coming from your background, you still really do value having someone on the phone, which is different for a lot of tech companies that we have on.
Yeah, I guess so. I think everyone else is crazy, right? Like my orientation is, how do we talk with our customers? Like people are trying to eliminate the need to speak with their customers. I'm kind of on the other side. It's like, how do we find more opportunities? Like I wish folks kind of called us more, because that's when they're going to be reminded of just how valuable we are and how much we can help. And by the way, we've got this team of people who just loves helping people. So those are opportunities for them to make a contribution and feel good as well. Anyways, but thanks, Ben. It's true. And it's very, very true.
Yeah, exactly. So, I want you to start talking a little bit about, obviously, we mentioned the tax season is going to be coming up here, and what a person who is using your product, using FreshBooks, as opposed, let's say, to someone who isn't, why that's not necessarily a good idea. And I want you to speak a little bit about tax season, which basically is, most people know, those are the words that strike fear into the hearts of people and freelancers and small business owners anywhere. And I'd love to hear some of your advice. But I
guess like before this, it was all kind of like doing homework. But then tax season comes, it's like taking the test. It's like, did I do all of this right? Dun,
yeah.
Dun, dun.
So
you're not wrong.
We're at the bottom of the hour. So when we come back, Mike, I'd certainly like you to speak upon that. So stand by, okay? You're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben and I are talking to Mike McDermott. He is the CEO and co-founder of FreshBooks. And we're going to get back to him right after these commercial messages. A brand spanking new News Hits Bulletin review from Marty Winston coming up as well. We will be right back. Stay with us.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons: accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons: accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
So a chicken walks into a bar. Oh, hi, Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Seek Thermal camera for Android. If you feed your smartphone enough carrots, can you get it to see in the dark? Probably not. But plug in a Seek Thermal micro USB connected thermal imaging camera and load its free app to start seeing heat images on your smartphone screen, side by side if you like, with visible light images. You can record video or stills, but the coolest part of seeing heat is what you get to see. Warm versus hot spots on the grill, where window or door insulation is letting you down. Warm wall spots that can signal electrical problems, critters in the yard, and more. Bottom line, the Seek Thermal Heat Imaging Camera for Android lets your smartphone see heat, which is a cool thing when you're being practical and hot when you're having fun. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show here, 33 minutes past the hour. And all here in the first hour, we have FreshBooks here and Mr. Mike McDermott.
He was starting to talk about what happened when two chickens walked into a bar, but then he got cut off. So we didn't.
What?
Didn't you hear that on the news?
Oh, yeah. That's right. For everyone else who's not been and did catch, that was a brand new News Tip Bulletin review by Marty Winston. And just like me, if you do not catch it, don't worry, we'll play it tomorrow.
That's right.
We get one of those every week, and he does a great job of reviewing new products, so always good to get those. But here in the first hour, we have Mike here, and he is the CEO and co-founder of FreshBooks. And tax season right around the corner. This is probably a good time to have them on. Probably not so much to help you because as we've been saying for the first half hour, because this is kind of instead of keeping your receipts in a giant grocery bag, this is like an ongoing over the year kind of thing to keep yourself organized. So when this time of year does come around, you are not scrambling like a lunatic to get everything in order. So right before the break, we kind of had to cut you off, Mike. But I believe we were just about to talk about, wow, I completely just drew a blank there.
Tax season,
Tax season.
Right. Two words that strike fear.
Strike fear. Ben, I think you were barking up the right tree. It's like, I hate to say it, if you're having a tough tax season, the real thing to take away is take all those painful scars from this year, just kind of get through it and try to remember how to improve for next year. So with an eye on going forward, the advice I'd give somebody is really what Ben was saying, is just throughout the year, stay on top of things, right? I think that's the best thing you can do. And find a simple way to make sure you can, I really think of it as a baseline. Just make sure you have your invoices organized and your expenses, right? Like as a simple baseline, that's the foundation for getting the right tax return done as a small business owner. And the thing there is, what we've seen over the years is if whatever it is that you're using is hard for you to use, you're probably not going to use it. So you're probably not going to track the stuff that you need to throughout the year. So just find a tool that's appropriate for you, nice and simple. That's sort of thing number one. And then I think having that, and we talked about this earlier before, but I think having somebody to lean on to ask those questions, to make sure you like basically having an accountant in your corner. I don't know that you need them creating your expenses and tracking your expenses for you, or doing your debits and credits. But if you can call them up at the end of the year and say, hey, I have a profit and loss statement here. I have all my invoices and all my expenses printed out. Can we quickly prepare my my information, or send them Excel files of the entries? That's kind of something you can do with a software like ours. That's a good place to be. That's kind of as good as it gets, because that's the lion's share of the work, is just capturing the stuff throughout the year.
So because no matter how good a tax professional or that you hire, it boils down to, well, what have you done? I need to see your records.
Yeah.
I need to see your receipts. I need to see the information that you've produced over the year, and then of course I, as the professional, can handle that. But so the process of accumulating all this information over the duration of a year. That's what you use FreshBooks for, to get that information that you can basically hand over to a professional.
Now, and I know that we have listeners from many small businesses, and rightly some of them are from tech, but I'm sure there are restaurant owners and laundromats and whatever small business you may have. Not all those are exactly a one-to-one comparison. Does FreshBook have any kind of special features that may help, let's say, a restaurant, or, compared to like another industry? Because, I assume that a company that's so focused on, listening to its customers, like, do you ever get the request for like, I'm in the restaurant business and I could really use feature XYZ? Yeah.
Yep. So first things first, we talked about this a little like at the outset is one of the things, probably the core thing, the starting place for what makes FreshBooks different is we're not actually built for every small business owner. So that answer to this question for us is like we're purpose built for professionals who get paid for their time and expertise and their teams, and so we don't do retail, we don't do restaurants, but for professionals, one feature that we have that's key is the ability to track your time, right? Because lots of folks do billable work, so being able to easily track your time and then generate an invoice from the hours you've tracked for various clients is a key feature that we offer.
Okay, all right, and what kind of costs are involved using your service, using FreshBooks? How costly is it?
So the way our service works is anyone can try it for free. You can try it for free for 30 days, and believe it or not, you can really try it for free for 60 days because we also have a 30-day money-back guarantee once you start paying us.
Oh.
So the fees range from let's call it about $19 a month for most folks. Some people pay us hundreds of dollars a month because they have big teams who use our software, but most folks are coming in and probably about $20 a month, and enabling them to save a whole bunch of time during the year and be super organized come tax time.
We keep hearing again that more and more of the tax services that are being offered are again filing electronically, e-file. I mean, we're hearing that, that's becoming the more common way of getting.
Well, it's not to like you get your money faster, and then there's no paperwork or less paperwork.
I was going to ask you any downside to doing that, or that you can think of, or do you recommend it?
So and I'm not sure if we're looking at the same data sources, but I was like, e-file, what does that mean exactly? Just so you know, like most of those e-filings, if I'm not mistaken, are actually done by accountants. Right, on behalf of their clients. So, I think where the industry is going, and frankly, where government should force it to go faster, opinion mine, is just to use technology to make all this stuff simpler and faster, right? There's, mailing stuff in and doing things the old way is kind of insane in this day and age. So I think for the purposes of having accurate information, for the purpose of expediting processes, for the purpose of trackability, for all these reasons, doing things by e-file and digital format makes a ton of sense.
In this day and age, because I still win over this. I mean, I pay most of my bills now. We pay all of our bills electronically. We can just go to the website. You can go to the utilities. Gas, water, electric. All these different things. You can pay it electronically, but there are still places that you can't do that, and it's not service companies. It's like our government. You can't pay a Medicare expense payment electronically. You have to send it in with a check, or write down the credit card number on a slip and say you can't pay. So there's still places that don't allow you to do that. It's like they're holding you down the dark ages. Why do you think that continues to happen? I mean, what's the purpose of it? Any thoughts on that?
I wish I could say that I believe people were strategically, aligning towards not you doing things electronically. I think what happens, especially where there's in large bureaucratic organizations, it just takes time to change these systems, right? So there are being advances made, and I think things. I think there was a long time where people were very afraid to do this stuff, and obviously not here on Computer America, where people are a little more forward thinking and sort of see the benefits of technology outweighing the risk. But there's a lot of fear and uncertainty and doubt, I think, that folks had around doing things electronically, felt more comfortable doing things by mail. That held things up, and now it's just kind of the last. I think all that stuff's in the death throes, and it's basically moving to electronic. Again, just my opinion. I don't know. Perhaps I'm not the foremost expert on it, but that's my sense of things.
Well, good. I mean, that's we like your opinion. Obviously, you're certainly in here. We invite you on the guest to talk about this, and you're running a very successful small business accounting software. company. I mean, and you have experience of this, and our listeners are just sort of picking your brain here. We're just trying to get a little, feel of what it is that what the sense of everything is. I mean, here we're on the cusp of the Internet of Things. Everything from our refrigerators to our crock pots and everything are now connected to the internet. We can unlock our homes, through the internet. Everything is coming basically via the internet. It's like the next big utility, and even that is that's always up for debate. So we're sort of like right in the middle of everything. What's your feeling? How do you think that things are going to pan out? Do you think we're finally going to just switch over and everybody's going to be happy? Will we be voting electronically too, or are we still going to have to go down to the polls and vote? I mean,
Yeah, great question. I was thinking about how convenient it would be to be able to vote electronically. I don't know. I feel like that's one where, I guess my guess is it ultimately gets there. I think, who knows? But yeah, just taking a step back at the start of the questions, where do you think we are? I think it's still early days of the internet, believe it or not, right? Things are still evolving in a really rapid pace. I've been building this business for over a decade now, and it's there have been times where I felt things were moving really, and I don't know, I feel like maybe it was 2007, 2008. I felt like things kind of slowed down a little bit, the innovation, but the past 7 years, I think it's just picking up, right? It is just remarkable what is being enabled. I mean, just look at freaking drones and all this stuff, right? And you may not think those are internet enabled yet, right? They're using GPS or something like this. There is all kinds of stuff going on in the technology landscape these days that, enabled by our phones. Everyone's carrying around a microprocessor in their hand. It's just kind of staggering. And I don't even think we've begun to scratch the surface of our collective imaginations, what's possible, and how we can basically improve our standard of living through the benefit of technology.
Yeah. And you mentioned, we've done, how many news stories did we do last week just on drones alone? Last week, Ben? I mean, there's just
no, they're going to be everywhere, and people are they're questioning about the use, privacy, blah 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 blah, but really there's no indication that they're going to be less prevalent just because people worry about them. Drones are going to be everywhere in the near future.
Yeah, and not only for delivering packages and everything, because was it Nevada? They just had the first package actually delivered, but we were talking about using drones for dangerous work, painting high buildings. Instead of sending a person up there, have a drone and just painting. I mean, these are some of the stories that we did, and we're going to see more and more of that. I mean, technology is making its way into our lives, has been for some time, and I think it's escalating. It's getting faster and faster, and I think in a good direction. At least that seems to be the consensus here.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we're probably a bit of a skewed group, right? I'm hopeful that we'll hear more about the positive stories. There will be cautionary tales along the way, without question, right? And I think that'll probably make us, think twice. But yeah, it's really exciting, and the pace is definitely picking up.
All right, now let our listeners just a little know. We sometimes ask our guests to give us some questions, kind of steer the direction of an interview, and that's always nice. And then we branch off in different directions and then come back to it. I have to say, I looked at this question that was presented to me by your company, and I kind of scratched my head about it. I said, "What does this have to do with anything having to do with accounting software?" But I'm going to ask it because I just really want to know what the answer is. And it says, you encourage inter-office dating for employees. What is that all about?
Yeah, it's true, but merits further explanation. So before our heads all go racing off to dating, let's put the dating in air quotes. So we ran a thing called blind dates here at FreshBooks a while ago, and we actually run a series of them. I think we've done it 3 times now, and there's another one coming soon. And here's the genesis of this. As I said, I've been building this company. It actually started at my parents' basement. We were there for 3.5 years, and we've been building up for 10 years. And we put a lot of focus on culture. We believe culture strategy. And I don't know if any of you have been with an organization that is smaller than 150 people and then move to one with more than 150 people, or if you've lived with a company that's grown through the 150 mark. But there's a thing called Dunbar's Law. And basically when humans organize and socialize in groups that are more than 150, something in our brains breaks. Right, and we can't remember everybody's name. The way we socialize and engage and interact sort of breaks down. It's called, again, Dunbar's Law. And I don't know if you know, like the Gore jackets, the Gore Technologies. Their whole company is built around not having any unit or any group more than 150 people for these reasons. Anyways, so at FreshBooks, we fight Dunbar's Law. Okay, we have a series of things that we do to keep the place feeling small, help people feel connected, because ultimately that sub 150 feeling just makes you feel like you're part of a smaller, more connected place. We do things to keep the place feeling small, one of which is that first month in customer support. And one of our customer service or support managers, a woman named Grace, who's our first hire in service, she in the fall decided to start organizing these things she called blind dates. And it was really just about enabling anyone at the company to sign up and say, hey, I'd like to go on a blind date. What a blind date was in this case, it was not a romantic thing. Mm-hmm. It was about meeting someone at the company who they hadn't met before. And so it was just about connecting folks from different departments, you know, folks you wouldn't never really run into. And usually, to be honest, we sent them out in groups of 3 or 4 mm-hmm. and to just kind of be like, you know, kind of break down the walls, find out what's going on over there. And, you know, we've had some remarkable things out of it. Actually, one of which was CBS coming and doing like a 5-minute segment on their morning show all about it. But that's another story. Anyways, yeah, it's been a great program. It's been and one of another great way to fight Dunbar's Law.
Dunbar's Law. Now, I had not heard of that that term, that one, but there are a lot.
But it makes complete sense because you know, I've been in some companies that, you know, you say that if you could just have that one you know, that 1 or 2 people, it's like, oh yeah, I know you know, someone down in HR, or I know someone in accounting, or I know, you know, just 1 or 2 people from a department that, you know, let's say you're on the production side, you'll never ever meet. You know, I guess it could really make you feel, you know, kind of closer to the company as a whole. That is a very, very cool idea.
Yeah, it's been very effective for us. Yep.
I watched a couple of the films that were movies again, which was one was about Google and how people interact at that corporation and how and it's like this.
Google's a weird place.
Yeah, but you have people who are interacting with each other. I mean, everything is kind of open and spacious, and there are a lot of community things that people, you know, like everything from ping pong tables to, you know, you name it. I mean, there are a lot of cultural centers within the company itself where people can kind of commingle.
You ever wonder if like Google like thrives despite their dysfunctionality, like their divergent office, you know, kind of culture, that like they just chose the right business to, you know, kind of learn how the world works and have data to back it up. Like they just chose this, and that lets them afford, you know, yeah, go ahead and go goof off for a day, you know, it's fun, go do it.
Well, I think, Craig, you were kind of getting into like you're sort of taken aback by the level of investment they put in just sort of open spaces and community-oriented things, even though they're in this big monolithic tech company.
Right. Pretty much. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
You felt the same way? Or?
Well, I think, you know, so ultimately a company like Google or a company like FreshBooks, we do knowledge work and it's all sort of people oriented. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, you know, so much of your satisfaction, your enjoyment showing up, you know, for work has to do with the people, you know, which really determine a lot of the environment. Like you can be in the nicest environment in the world, but if it's like totally political or people are mean or whatever it is,
yeah,
it you know, it doesn't matter what the view at your window is, like that sucks. So, you know, I think what you can do to build an environment that's, you know, whether it's supportive or, you know, constructively challenging or collaborative, like these things really do matter. And so, you know, I think Google, they've obviously written the book on a few things. Mm-hmm. You know, we're trying to write the book on a few more, and I don't think it ever ends, right?
Sure. No,
the future generations of work are going to be all about this knowledge stuff, right? So,
yeah,
we got a lot to learn, I think, because it hasn't been the way people believe frankly, generations before wasn't what generations before expected, and it's going to be different going forward. That much I know.
And what about the home office environment? I mean, a lot of people will bring their home work, or they'll do a lot of the work at home. Can you share just some insights into making a home office environment, more productive?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Having worked at home by myself for years and trying to figure out how to stay motivated, it is non-trivial. So, I don't know. I mean, the stuff I used to focus on was first thing is to just know that it takes enormous discipline to be successful. So I had a workspace that I would not go to except for working hours, right? And I would try to keep it out of sight. I try to like not look at it at night, because as soon as you start looking over there, like your mind drifts back to the work day, right? And it's really hard when you work from home to get away from your work day. So I think having that dedicated space and really being crisp about I've never had a tidier desk. I used to actually wear different clothes when I'd go to work at home. Like I'd actually dress up a little more to kind of get my game face on, which is crazy. But you can sit in your house robe or whatever if you want, but I don't think and by the way, I feel much better in more relaxed clothing as a rule, but I found I had to do that to kind of keep my energy up and to get into the zone. Yeah, those are, I guess a couple of things. And then I always like to try and get out for lunch or go meet people who would be like people I'd aspire to be more like somebody who's running a bigger agency or something like that, and try and network my way in. And, once a month or something like that, get out and just kind of learn from those folks. So I know kind of the path I was trying to head on.
And quickly, just talk a little bit about your experience when your business started to grow and you found yourself needing more manpower, or tell us about your people experience with that.
Well, it's a never-ending journey learning about people, right? And when you are building a business that's built on people, frankly, people are the business, like with FreshBooks. Yeah, a lot of time has gone into that. So one of the things we've benefited from over the years is we set a set of values at FreshBooks that we use as kind of to help govern, frankly, behaviors, and it makes it a little easier to figure out, who to hire and who not to hire, frankly. So we have 9 values. They spell an acronym, Porchfest, which for right now doesn't really matter. But the idea is these are the kinds of behaviors we want to see manifested in the office every day, and taking the time to kind of crystallize those was really great, because ultimately we hire for 2 things: skills or fit, or alternatively like EQ and IQ. And giving the whole company, people who are hiring, whether it's myself or other people, like a toolkit to say, oh, does this person share our values? Has been very, very valuable, because what they say is true. It's like hire slow and fire fast. And if you have somebody who's not working out, it's so expensive. You demotivate people around you. Politics can begin. Productivity goes down. And so we take a lot of time to make sure we get the right folks in.
Talk to me briefly about managing millennials. I mean, a lot of businesses complain about managing them. Are they really that different to manage?
Those darn kids.
Yeah. Managing millennials, I feel like it's a little different than managing. I think, you got to create the conditions where they can lead you to your success. It's a little bit of a different way to think about things. So, I find millennials, basically, they want feedback, and that, that gets sort of mischaracterized in a lot of different ways. And by the way, I want feedback. That's how I improve. So I think that's a healthy thing. What I found, and probably one of my hardest leadership lessons, is recognizing that if you don't have a good reason for folks to show up to work, like just being a part of a company or kind of like making money is not nearly enough. Like you have to be on a mission from God to have folks, that want to sign up for that, right? And so that is a big part, I think, of managing millennials. Is, do you know why you do what you do?
Yeah.
Right. Is there a purpose beyond making money to what you do? And you folks might say it's like, hey, we really help like educate, and, I don't know how you'd say it, but like, we entertain folks, but we're also helping to educate them so they can make good decisions day to day. Well, that's something, lots of folks can get behind, right? It's
Right.
different than a paycheck. That's a very different answer.
No.
And so, for us, it's, bringing that vision to life and of, helping people work without having to learn accounting.
Right. Well, Mike, listen, this has been very eye-opening. Again, I want to thank you for being here with us. Again, it's FreshBooks. You can go to the website, FreshBooks, just as it sounds, .com, or head over to ComputerAmerica.com. Right there on the homepage, we have a huge link to the FreshBooks website up for the day, and for the rest of the week, you can see it there as well again, and check it out for yourself. Again, it's you get to try it, 30 days, and then you have after you get it, you have 30 days to get your money back. So basically, you're like getting a 60-day trial. All that information is up there at the website. I want to wish you the best of luck with your endeavors, Mike, and hopefully we'll have you back on the show again if you had a good time.
Greg, I enjoyed it. Thanks very much for having me. Ben, you as well. Very much enjoyed it, guys. Thanks a lot.
And enjoyed having you here on the show. Thanks again, Mike.
Sure.
Have a good day. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, you too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. All right, there you go, FreshBooks, and you can see it for yourself. And again, FreshBooks.com, or head over to ComputerAmerica.com, and you can check it out for yourself. And as we said, I mean, you're going to need the records for everything you did for the year, and if you don't have some sort of accounting software, you really need to do this. And again, this is accounting for the small person, just onesie twosies. That's exactly what he's kind of aiming for here at FreshBooks at their website. So check it out. All right, coming up in the next hour, we got a full hour of computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. Some interesting stories, and I'm looking at one here with artificial gills. The letter person.
Yeah, that was we talk about horrible Kickstarter campaigns.
Yeah.
This is the poster child of horrible Kickstarter campaigns,
okay.
but it's back. So
and also Toshiba, I saw this on national news. They're recalling over 100,000 laptop batteries that are igniting.
it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, kind of a big deal. Okay. And also, Oculus. Did you know the Oculus will pay shipping for all pre-orders to date because they've had a delayed rollout? Ooh. Okay. So those stories and more coming up at the Computer America Show. Of course, we'll also have another brand new news test bowl to review from Marty Winston. Hopefully, you'll stick around and listen to it. And we'll continue on. We're just going to pause just for a moment, and we're back with hour 2 of the Computer America Show. Here we go.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And if you missed the first hour, we had Mike McDermott, CEO, co-founder of FreshBooks, on the show talking about what it is that they do. And if you missed any portion of it, you certainly can listen again. We archive everything here at Computer America. Over at ComputerAmerica.com, we archive all of our shows, all of our videos. Just click the Archives tab, and you can see all the different places that archives our shows: SoundCloud, Stitcher, Apple's iTunes, the Blog Talk Radio Network. They all have archives. Of course, you can also listen to us live. We have the IRN Radio Network, the TuneIn Radio Network, all of our different places that you can listen to Computer America. You can even listen to Computer America now on your Amazon Echo. That's right. It's all available at ComputerAmerica.com. All the different places that you can listen to the show live or in time delay, time shift. It's all there for you. Of course, we love it when you listen to us live because, we're on Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Certainly make our show available to you. and our live streaming video. So we welcome that. Again, 347-884-8881 is the number that will get you on and get you through. So were there any good movies this weekend? No, I think the ones that I wanted to see are coming out this weekend. That's Midnight. Was it Midnight?
Which one?
It's a sci-fi with a movie that's coming out with a little kid who's an alien, and it looks really good.
You know, it's weird. I have not watched television in a week.
Okay.
I am so behind the times about what movies are coming out.
Well, they're out there. Also, TV shows. There are lots of interesting TV shows. A lot of them are finishing up, and some of them.
Did you know my Big Fat Greek Wedding 2 came out?
Yes, I did. I have not seen it though. I did enjoy that movie. I actually saw it in the theater with a group of friends many years ago when it first came out. When did it actually come out? Because that was the year that I went to the movie theater to see it. I got invited with a group of friends to come see it, and I watched it in the movie theater. I've since seen it again many times, and and repeats on Showtime and Homebox and that type of thing. Yeah, and supposedly that movie now it's like 9 or 10 years later, and the daughter is now getting married, and the whole thing is starting over.
Well, obviously, time has passed because time has passed. So.
As time usually does, it has that character. The linear progression of time never ceases to amaze me. Okay, well, we've got the second hour of the show, and we're going to be doing our computer news and technology reports brought to you by Slimware Utilities. All that is coming up in this hour. Again, I keep feeling that something else happened over the weekend, and I'm forgetting to talk about it. But, I got the whole week to remember it, so you mean
like something in the news world or something personal or what?
Something in the news world happened, and it was kind of interesting, and I cannot remember what it was. But I'll think of it, or it'll surface. It'll come to the
Not like an update alert or something, and
maybe it was. No, we already had an update on Friday. We had an update alert for Apple's the iPhone.
Okay.
A lot of people who had the iPhone were hit. It was just dying on them. They would hit the button and it would just hang. Nothing would happen, or links wouldn't work properly. Evidently, Apple came out with that correction. They came out with 9.3.1. They found out what was causing it. You come out with an OS that's going to affect millions and millions of people, and something small like that slips by. But with that's the wonderful thing about updates today. I mean, you don't have to go and buy a floppy disk and go to the store, download it. You don't have to do any of that more. It just kind of happens. Things get updated. In many cases, you don't even know that it's updating. I think my last iPhone, last update, I didn't even realize that it updated. I turned on my phone in the morning, and I already had the new OS installed on it. So it's nice to have that. Of course, software, same way. Our software, some of them give you the option of saying, well, would you like me to inform you first, or you just go ahead and say, no, just do it. And then when I'm there, sometimes I don't even realize what version I have anymore of a lot of the software that I'm running. I just know that it's the latest version, and it all works, which is really a nice thing.
Yep.
We've come a long way from that. Okay, so we've got a lot of great stories. I guess anything else, or we should just get started with news.
No. I think we have lots of great news stories, and we should jump into it.
Right. Let's jump in. Today's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. Check them out. You will be happy that you did, and you'll thank us for it. slimwareutilities.com.
Oh, right. So let's start off. Well, you know what? Let's talk a little bit about this because the news stories. This has happened over the weekend, and it's tech related in that mostly, admittedly, it's kind of UK politics and financial and business and whatnot, but it is tech related in that it was probably the largest data leak in the history of ever. Really? And this was really, really cool that happened over the weekend. And for all of you who missed it, please go ahead and Google something called the Panama Papers, as they're being called. Luckily they have not called it, Panama Gate or anything stupid like that. But the Panama Papers are essentially a huge data leak that happened over the weekend. Sunday afternoon, I believe. So if you have been paying attention, it was about Sunday afternoon, and yeah, about 2.7 terabytes of data were leaked to the press. And of the 2.7 terabytes, they said about 11 million documents. Again, 11 million documents dating back to like the 1970s. All of it related to shell corporations in Panama that were registered in Panama. And, not going to get into the minutia of, shell corporations and really what they're used for. But the long and skinny of it is that while, yes, there are some legally accepted uses for shell corporations in Panama, this is how a lot of criminal activity happens, is through shell corporations in Panama. Because, if a company starts a company, and there's very, very little paperwork connecting these companies together other than, just a name here or there, it's very easy to hide money from people who you don't want tracking how you spend your money. And they said that there were upwards of over $2 trillion. Okay, let me second. $2 trillion being held by all these shell corporations that, come from, so far they've said that like 78 current and former heads of state in the UK have been implicated. Russian officials have been implicated. Celebrities have been implicated. Entire criminal organizations have been implicated.
Well, you say implicated, celebrity implicated. There's a connotation that these people are doing something bad or illegal, because an offshore account isn't necessarily something that's illegal or bad. But you're saying that the ones that
and I've asked this of a couple people, and I kind of want to ask our audience, doesn't it seem like something that should be illegal? Shouldn't a business, and don't get me wrong, this is legal in the fact that it is written into the tax code that you can completely do this, and it is completely legal because they wrote it as such, as that this is legal. But shouldn't companies declare their assets and kind of say this is my money, when instead they can go to, and again, all these files just came from Panama. That's not including the Bahamas. That does not include Sweden. That does not include, Malaysia. That does not include, whatever tax haven that you can think of. That this is only Panama. Shouldn't that be illegal to hide money, if for no other reason than to hide it from being taxed? And admittedly, it's legal because the law says so. But it's probably not moral. Like, there is really no moral justification other than, as a business, if I don't do this, other businesses will, and then I'll be behind the 8 ball because they do this and I don't. Therefore, I need to be on the same level, so I need to hide my assets as well. And don't get me wrong, companies all over the world do this every day.
Asset protection is not a bad thing. I mean, there are people who specialize legitimately in asset protection, and they do it all by legal means. And there's some very clever things you can do, and you can hire people to, protect your assets. But I think there's an implication that some of these in here were.
Well, okay, let's put it this way: if there was criminal activity to be done, and don't get me wrong, just because the story just broke yesterday, but the news organizations have been going through the papers for the past 10 months. This has been long in the making, and if criminal activity was going to happen, it was going to be through one of these shell corporations. And if criminal activity was going to happen, it was going to use this method. Not saying that everyone who uses this method is a criminal, but if criminal activity were to happen, this would be how they did it.
Look at this. There's a $2 billion paper trail that leads to Russia's Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, there's some money laundering from Russian officials, and there are campaign contributions to known terrorist organizations in the Middle East. And all of this because hey, let's say you have a bunch of money and you don't want people kind of connecting it to you. You use one of these one of these shell corporations. And now, thanks to a data leak, which is our big point, it's now all up, for everyone to kind of look at. And it's funny, the biggest the biggest people in transparency, we of course have Edward Snowden. He was he was kind of the one that's like, hey guys, pay attention, something's coming. WikiLeaks offered to host all 11 million documents so that anyone could peruse them and see what's going on. And the cool thing about this was that over 100 media organizations, about 370 reporters over the past year have been working on this, and they all coordinated silently, and they all coordinated at the same time to release their findings, so that no one person, just like Edward Snowden, so that no one person could be blamed for the leak of this, of all this information. So, I guess they kind of learned from what Edward Snowden is having to deal with, because, even though he did what I think a lot of people would consider America a great service by saying, hey, here's what's really going on, he still has to live in Russia. He cannot come back to the U.S. to see his family.
Yeah, because he's considered to be a traitor.
Yeah, exactly. So they learn. So people learn from that, and here they had a massive, planned coordinated effort to for 100 news organizations to release this at the same time. So that was very, very cool to see. And and this thing goes, as far as the UK goes, and Panama apparently was a very, very cool one. Like, I was actually listening to the BBC, and they mentioned that the building where 30,000 companies were registered was a 2-story, bright blue building in the middle of a very rural town. Like, that's not exactly where you expect 30,000 companies to be. Like, they still had chickens running all over the place. Not high tech. So, and all this is, as we said, like the biggest to date data leak. And with all this, the implications of it are going to be weeks in the making, because everyone, like I said, everyone from celebrities to current politicians to foreign politicians to companies to just everyone finally seeing where their assets are going, and who they're paying, and tracking through all this. It's going to be very eye-opening to finally follow the numbers.
Well, it's going to prove to be interesting, and obviously we'll keep track of it as developments continue to occur here. But very interesting story. And
it's and I know it's a little more financial than it's technology, but still it's something that I think everyone should really pay attention to, because again, this is the names that are in these papers, in these 11 million documents, are national leaders, are monarchs, are presidents, are prime ministers, are celebrities, are just every possible higher, just really, the only people who would be implicated in this would technically be the elite, those who have $250,000 to hide away, who have a couple $1 million they don't want tracked, who have millions of dollars in assets that they want to hide. It's not like Joe Everyman is going to be in these papers with his $37 that he's trying to hold on to desperately. No, this is going to be just by the nature of what is leaked, this is by nature going to be very, very high end and official people.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll keep on top of it. And
this is huge news. I'm trying to get you all to understand that. Just massive news.
Massive. Yes, it is. And again, as you say, it's not necessarily a technology story, but it all came about because of technology, the data leak. So as I said, we'll stay on top of it. This story, again, you know who Jeff Bezos is, don't you?
Yeah, he owns or he's the CEO of Amazon.
Right, exactly. Well, he went to Twitter and decided to, hey, I'm the CEO of Amazon, and so I can do what I want to do. And he decided to go to Twitter, and he spilled the beans about a brand new Kindle that's going to be coming out. And according to him, and just think of all the people out there who were thinking about buying a Kindle Voyage, and the latest Kindles, Evidently, according to Engadget, he says, well, maybe you should wait, because Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos just tweeted this morning that Amazon is getting ready to release an all-new top-of-the-line Kindle next week. Wow. So now, presumably, that'll be a replacement for the aging but still powerful Kindle Voyage, which was released back in the fall of 2014. It's got that's a long life for a technology product of this kind, between 2014. So it's almost 2 years old.
That seems like a pretty average, product lifespan for technology.
Well, of course, the Kindle Voyage is still an excellent e-reader, and it's kind of expensive. It sells for $200. But the mid-range Kindle Paperwhite has since adopted its high-resolution screen at a much lower price. Okay. By the way, here's the tweet that Jeff Bezos sent out. He says, "Heads up, readers! All new, top-of-the-line Kindle, almost ready. 8th generation, details next week." And he sent that out on the 4th of April, which was today. He actually released it about 12:59 p.m. Anyway, the article goes on to say that the Voyage is still slightly smaller and lighter than the Paperwhite. It also features a screen with adaptive lighting technology and has pressure-sensitive page turn buttons. But for most readers, the cheaper Paperwhite is the better buy. He says, well, we're going to see what Amazon has to differentiate its new e-reader from the Voyage next week. But for now, Jeff Bezos isn't dropping any other details. No more tweets from him. By the way, it's also worth noting that this is a pretty strange way to drop some news. Most new device launches are obviously shrouded in secrecy, Look at Apple, But evidently, Bezos's transparency around this implies that it's not that big of a deal, despite his quote-unquote all-new proclamation. And e-readers aren't exactly hotly anticipated gadgets at this point. Let's face it, most you can do most of it on your smartphone, especially with it when they have features like that. The lighting, what's it called? They just introduced it with the Apple iPhone, so you get more, and also on the iPod too. 9.3 introduced it. It's a new feature in the operating system that makes the tonality of the paper or the background fade depending upon the ambient light where you find yourself, to make things more readable. But anyway, Amazon did get the formula right with the Kindle. It's been one of its best products, and it continues to dominate the market with it. So there's not a whole lot for Jeff Bezos to lose by giving the masses a little tease of what's coming next. So he really didn't overstep his bounds, if he has any bounds, which he isn't. He's the CEO of the company. He can do pretty much what he wants. So, but basically, don't expect anything gargantuan or earth-shaking, but basically they're coming out with a new Kindle model, and if you're thinking about buying a Paperwhite or a Voyage model, you may want to wait until next week to see what they're going to unveil. It might be better. It'll certainly be better, because anything newer usually is better, and it will probably be less expensive with more features, and, so it's certainly worth the wait.
Yep, and I definitely enjoy that. For everyone out there who is watching the video portion, the picture they have of the Kindle here, I know exactly where that picture is from.
What is it?
It's Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings.
Ah.
So they use that great book. Amazing book. I'm glad they used that for the picture. But it's just always fun to see a stock photo, and it's like, oh, well, I know where that's from.
It's a good novel. It's a good.
One of the best he's written. One of the best.
Right.
Very, very, very. If you're into high fantasy, then yeah, totally up your alley. But
the thing about the Kindle, as opposed to, let's say, an iPad or some of the other devices that uses e-ink, electronic inks, instead of the LCD displays that we find in most other tablets out there. And the e-ink has the unique characteristics that if you're in brilliant sunlight shining down on your screen, you see it even more clearly. And in a darkened environment, especially with their paper white, they backlit it with white LED, so it actually looks like paper. So it's still easy on the eyes. But the idea, electronic ink is still probably the easiest display for you to look at hours upon hours, because it's almost like looking at paper, and that's what they find in the Kindle.
Yep, and like the article said, they really hit their their targeted market with their first product. Mm-hmm. So when something works, and when something as simple as books and e-readers, why mess with it? Mm-hmm. So just more functionality, faster, and longer life, longer battery life. If they just kind of pull an Apple and just do marginally better in every way, folks, mm-hmm. then hey, there's nothing wrong with updating your flagship to be just that little bit better, because hey, time has passed.
There you go. Okay. All right.
All right. So there's that story. And so, whoops. But yeah, let's do which one next? How about this one? This is a story about let's just get this one out of the way. The laptop batteries.
Yeah, Toshiba.
They're on fire.
Literally. I thought we saw the last of that with the exploding batteries in the hoverboards. I figured, well, okay, but this is a hoverboard.
Cheap, poorly manufactured batteries will never go away.
Yeah, but this is from a company. This is from Toshiba. This is a recognized.
Even if they're from Toshiba, Toshiba at the end of the day just puts them together and slaps their name on it. Even they have to get suppliers from down the chain.
But at least they're monitored. I mean, Toshiba has a reputation they're watching the materials that go into their products, and to have a company like Toshiba coming up with batteries that are catching on fire. I mean, it's unexpected.
It's not. Batteries aren't exactly the most foolproof thing in the world. It's not a cupcake. Batteries, even though we take them for granted nowadays, they're pretty easy to mess up. So. This article, Max and PC, Paul Lilly, of course. And yeah, Toshiba America has issued a recall for certain brands of lithium-ion battery packs that were sold with laptops in the United States and Canada. The affected models can overheat, and of course, that can be a burn or fire hazard. Mm-hmm. So while no injuries have been reported, Toshiba has received 4 reports of affected battery packs from overheating and melting. So the recall affects batteries that were installed in 39 models of Toshiba Protege, Satellite, and Tecra laptops. So if you have one of those and purchased those recently, and by the dates that they're saying here are from 2011 to 2016. So, if you have any of those brands of laptops, again, Protege, Satellite, or Tecra, and purchased them between 2011 and 2016, then you could be eligible for a replacement battery. So, battery packs affected by the recall have part numbers printed on the back, starting with G71C. So it would start with G71C, and then it'll have a bunch of numbers and letters. Mm-hmm. So they were sold at Office Depot, and of course at ToshibaDirect.com. So they have a quote here directly from Toshiba saying that if it is part of the recall, consumers should power off the laptop, remove the battery, step away slowly, close it in the room, lock the door, nail the door shut. No. Okay. But yeah, turn off the laptop, remove the battery, and follow the instructions to obtain a free replacement battery. So until a replacement battery pack is received, consumers should use their laptop by plugging into AC power only.
I have a question. Again, I have a question. What happens if you have this battery and before you realize this, it melts your computer? Is Toshiba responsible for your computer as well as the battery?
Well, it seems like it wasn't really melting computers, but I think it got to the point where, because most computers are, if they sense that they're getting too hot, then they'll shut themselves off. That's a very, very common feature in, especially laptops. Mm-hmm. But it seems like it got so hot that if you had your laptop sitting on something, like let's say you had your laptop sitting on your baby or the family pet, then it could cause serious burns to whatever that surface may be.
Yeah, we always put our laptop on one of our dogs, and Jasmine.
Oh yeah, no, very very cooling.
Walks around
So yeah, it's So the laptop itself was probably safe from any harm because let's face it, if it was going to get that hot, it would shut itself off, and before any real damage would have happened. But yeah, it was probably burning stuff underneath it, which is the problem. So that's why AC power is still acceptable. So again, if you have a Toshiba laptop and it is one of those, one of those 3 different brands purchased in the last 5 years, go ahead over to Toshiba's website and they have everything you need to know and how to get your free replacement battery from them.
You have to return the old one, or you just throw it out.
Again, probably in the instructions.
All right. Okay. Well, be careful. If you're getting ready to cook, but changing a battery on a laptop is really easy. It's usually just one little unit pops out and pops back in. And as you say, you can run your laptop.
Unless you have, in a Toshiba laptop, absolutely, it's just one little button and you're done. Right. This is not like a MacBook Air where it's like, oh yeah, take apart your MacBook Air.
Exactly. Now these pop out, and you can actually run the computer without batteries. The thing is that if there's a power failure, then you're going to lose everything because you're now relying completely on the AC power as opposed to the battery. Because when you plug your laptop into the wall and there's a power failure, your laptop continues to run because it's actually running off the battery itself, not off the AC line. Take the battery out, you're going to be running directly off of AC. So just be aware of that. Okay, we've got more stories coming up, including Oculus, the Oculus Rift. I don't think we're going to have time to get to the entire story, but we can talk a little bit about it. This is from Popular Science. We made the announcement, was it last week, that Oculus was finally getting ready to deliver the first Oculus Rifts, and we were making jokes about Rift Rash. Remember that? And the Oculus Rift actually making
Well, you were. I was never really a fan of the term Rift Rash.
Well, I mean, but whatever. Basically, it made impressions in your face when you
like saying Rift Rash is like, well, there's a new STD you can get from your virtual headset. It's called Rift Rash. Like,
I was just making this.
It's slight indentations. Like I've never heard. It's like, oh yeah, you have mask rash. Oh well, you must have been scuba diving. That sounds incurable. Rift Rash? No, that's silly.
Okay. Well, anyway, it was the people were getting these impressions in their face because they were wearing their Oculus Rift for too long. Anyhow, everyone was excited about the pre-orders. Evidently, according to the story, there's been a delay to get your brand spanking new Oculus Rift, and it's evidently a result of something called components shortage. Yeah, and we'll be talking about that as well. 347-884-8881. We got a brand new News Test Bulletin review from Marty Winston. That's all coming up in hour 2 of the Computer America Show. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Why did the raccoon cross the road? I don't know. Must have been suicidal. Hi, Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, Pebco Quiet Rock. This is about hearing through walls, which isn't fun if you're next to a TV room, or a bedroom, or a bathroom. Now, there are new kinds of walls that can help reduce that noise, which is a challenge if you think about it, because a wall is really a huge diaphragm. Pebco sent a sample of Quiet Rock ES Gypsum, that's a formal term for sheetrock or drywall, with a clever way to decouple sound right inside the board. It's a sandwich of special recipe gypsum with a rubbery viscoelastic polymer layer in the middle. The sound pickup from one side of the wall gets mechanically decoupled from passing through to the other side. Bottom line, Quiet Rock ES can help squelch those noises so nothing annoys us. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Now, 33 minutes past the hour. Yes. Yeah, that was a brand new News Tip Bulletin review by Marty Winston. And yeah, you'll be hearing that one all week, just like in the first hour. So, you know, yeah, good way to tell which show you're listening to. So, here we have this article. We're doing computer technology news brought to you by Slimmer Utilities. You know, covered a couple different channels or a couple different stories. And now we are talking or about to get into the Oculus Rift and how, yeah, they are, you know, giving everyone a freebie because of their, you know, their slower pace.
Yeah, basically, evidently because of a delay rollout as due to the result of a component shortage, Oculus will pay for shipping for all pre-orders to date. Well, how much that is? I mean, how much what that comes to?
Well, I'm sure they get a bulk discount because they're a company. I mean, if Amazon can do it, I think they can afford it.
Or they can have it delivered to your house by a drone. Well, while reviewers are experiencing the tolls of Oculus Face, we're kidding about that. Many fans who pre-ordered the virtual reality headset are still waiting at home, wondering when their devices will ship. Well, in an attempt to quell anxious customers, Oculus will pay shipping for all pre-orders made until today. This is including international shipments. CEO Brendan Iribe confirmed early this morning. And here is a tweet from him. He says, first set of Rifts are going out slower than we originally estimated, so we're giving free shipping for all pre-orders, including international. How nice. Evidently, the delay was due to a shortage of components. This was explained by Oculus in an email that they sent out. They expect shipment information to be updated by the 12th of April. This can translate, by the way, into huge savings to some international customers.
Yeah, international customers usually get the pretty short end of the stick when it comes to shipping, because here in the U.S. we kind of take it for granted, but with tariffs and taxes and fees and blah, blah, blah. Just like the article says, for an Australian user, that's about $132 saved.
Right. In Australian dollars. Yeah. Now, Ariba responded to the Reddit comment that was made by Sven Viking, that was his handle, confirming the savings and apologizing for not letting customers know earlier. So there it is. It's being delayed slightly. Looks like the April the 12th is the updated shipment date. But again, it's due to the result of a component shortage. These things happen, you know. And, but you know, the person getting the stuff doesn't care about component shortage. They don't care about anything. They want their product. They want their Oculus Rift, and they don't care why. So I guess this is the only thing and a very nice thing that they're doing. They're going to save people a lot of money with shipping costs, especially, as Ben mentioned, if you're overseas. It's going to be a.
Like, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that they're doing it, and it's good that they're throwing their customers a bone because something is taking longer than expected. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know how much more transparent you can be. And I don't know how people can be so upset. It's like, yeah, this new product that you ordered, it's going to be a month late. But I mean, I don't know. I like if I was among these people, I would not be, mad. Like I would not be taking to the streets rioting. It's just something that happens. If they have a component shortage, they have a component shortage. There's nothing that the company itself can do. If they were sitting on them all and they were like, oh, we're waiting until 3 weeks from now because we feel like it. Yeah, get mad. But I don't know anyone who would get mad at this.
No, but you don't necessarily wait patiently either. The anticipation continues to build. When you wait for something to arrive, and it doesn't arrive, Ben, I mean, you get antsy about it. Where is it? Where is it? I want it now. And but it's it's not here. It's not going to be here for a while yet.
These people have been waiting for a year and a half. I think they can wait another week or two.
That's okay. Then again, it was the opposite side. They've been waiting for so long, they can't wait any longer. I guess it depends on your perspective.
Speaking of waiting a long time for things, from high tech to high tech, now we have the Tesla Model 3.
Yeah.
So that's something that happened recently, and we have Elon Musk saying that he has over 200,000 orders or pre-orders for the Model 3 in the first 24 hours. Like that, those are impressive numbers for like video games that cost $60, or that's like impressive for like iPhones that cost $600 or $800.
Right.
This is a car that's going to cost starting $35,000, and they're expecting the average to sell for about $43,000 with kind of extras included. That's a lot of cars
and a lot of money.
Yeah. And of course, speaking of which, we were just talking about waiting patiently. Yeah, you're gonna have to wait patiently for this one because, they're saying that the old production facility that they used to use, could put out, I think, in the neighborhood of like 110,000 cars a year.
Mm-hmm.
But their new production one that they just moved to, that's also producing
batteries.
The new one that they just moved to, unfortunately, can only produce 70,000, I want to say, a year. So, like at best, in this article is more talk about how much money that they're actually that people pre-ordered for, but like they're saying that to get everyone who pre-ordered, they're saying that people will potentially have to wait until 2020, even though it's going to come out next year, that people are going to have to potentially wait 3 years just to get their car.
Wow.
And again, another valid point to make about this is that the barrier to entry, like the price to actually pre-order the car, wasn't that much money. I think it was just a couple $100. And a lot of people would just pre-order it because the price was so low that in a couple years they don't know if they're even going to want the Model 3 anymore. But they know that if they could spend a couple hundred today to at least get on the list and have that option open is worth the pre-ordering than it is to kind of say, wow, I really wish I had gotten that car, but you're not on the list. So a lot of these pre-orders have really at the end of the day have no intention of actually getting the car. They just want the privilege to at least have the option. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
Like when the time comes to actually plunk down the the $43,000 it takes to buy one of these cars, a lot of these people aren't even going to purchase it.
Or maybe they could sell their place in line.
That has been that has happened before, but I think Tesla kind of cracked down on that when their company first started doing this.
Yeah, we had Mike Cermak. I need to ask him that question again. I mean, when you're in line to buy something and you reserve a place in line,
like they reserve it to you. So like unless you want to sell your place and then you buy the car and then you sell it to someone else and you want to take on all that risk, of purchasing a car with no guarantee that someone else is actually going to buy the car from you. Not a lot of people are really looking to do that.
Mike's going to be on with us this Wednesday, but it's the first Wednesday of the month. Maybe we'll ask him to clarify that. Did you see the Twitter comments that Elon Musk made? The 2 tweets here in this article.
Yeah.
He says Model 3 orders at 180,000 in 24 hours. Selling price with average option mix probably 42,000. So 7.5 billion in a day. Future of electric cars are looking bright. And then evidently he had a second tweet, which was a little later on the day. That was at 11 p.m. on the 1st of April. Evidently at 1:23, which is about an hour and later on, he writes, thought it would slow way down today, but the Model 3 order count is now at 198,000. Recommend ordering soon as the wait time is growing rapidly. So,
Yep, and again, the sad part of this is, of course, that it is probably the most highly anticipated car, because it is really the first Tesla that is a decent consumer price. Not saying that they're going to be the cheapest car on the market by any means. $35,000, that's still solidly mid-range car. And then the extras and add-ons that you're obviously going to want to get, like a longer battery life, further range, all that kind of stuff that you're definitely going to get. All that kind of stuff. It's going to be more expensive than a lot of other cars out there, but at how many are pre-ordered and how much people want this car, like the fact that we're reporting on it today, if you try to pre-order one today, if they put your name on a list, you probably wouldn't get one before 2021 if every single one of these pre-orders was shipped out to everyone before you.
Must be nice to be able to sell every model thing that you make years before it's available to be sold.
Well, yeah, and we're seeing companies chomping at the bit to actually buy the entire production run. I mean, we just did this story a little while ago about Uber buying 100,000 S-Class Mercedes-Benz.
Mm-hmm.
Like the car, the ride-sharing service Uber bought 100,000 cars, and figure the year before that, Mercedes only made 60,000 of them. So they actually had to up production from the year before just for one order. I mean, when cars are in demand, and higher end cars, just like the Model 3 or Mercedes S classes, it's really, really cool to see how much people want high tech in cars.
Yeah, my goodness, this is absolutely amazing. The thing is that every time you hear something new and then you order it, by the time it comes around, there's something newer that almost makes you the one that you're getting ready to obsolete. I know Mike Cermak had that same problem. I mean, he ordered it and then
he pre-ordered it, and by the time his place came around, he said, "No, I'm going to get this other one."
Yeah, exactly. It just and it's sort of like buying a new computer. So when should I buy one? I guess the point is buy it when you're ready, because there's always something newer, always something better, always something faster, slimmer, sleeker. There's always something just around the corner. So you could spend your entire life, waiting for something, the newer thing to come out. And then, although it's compounded, I think, with an automobile, because
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you can go make yourself, a new computer, but
yeah,
only one person makes Teslas, and they don't make a lot of them.
Yep, evidently not. Well, it's interesting. Interesting to see these things happening, and we'll continue to see them can happen. Okay, well, let's do this next story. Is it my turn or is it yours?
No, it's your turn.
Okay. Evidently, this is according to Gadget. YouTube. Evidently, there was a dispute, a YouTube channel dispute, a fighting
YouTube and dispute claims. My God, that never happens on YouTube.
Evidently, fighting over control of a video feed can prove to be very costly because the court awarded them $20 million. Again, YouTube channels can be a tremendous things when everything goes according to plan, but things can really, truly get ugly when their creators disagree with each other. Again, this is from Engadget. Brandon Keating and David Moss have won both a $20 million award and controlling interest in a YouTube channel, video games, after
Video
suing.
games being the name of the channel.
Yeah, right. After suing their former partners in the project. Allegedly, Martin and Princip committed fraud by reneging on a 2012 agreement that gave Keating and Moss partial control over and revenue from video games videos. The defendants not only avoided making payments according to the lawsuit, but kept the plaintiffs entirely out of the loop at one point. Princip even handed control of the channel to a child without telling Keating or Moss what happened. A child? Wow.
That means like, hey, little cousin, here, check
Yeah.
this out. And yeah, they did that.
Well, evidently the lawsuit is unsurprisingly one-sided and should be taken with a grain of salt, but neither of the defendants have sterling online reputations. Princip has seen multiple channels banned for violating YouTube's guidelines and appears to have stopped producing for the site altogether. Martin, meanwhile, has been accused of paying for bots to frame critics for cheating on video views and creating channels after getting the boot. One thing for sure, as YouTube has grown to include more professionally produced content, it's also inheriting the bitter legal action that's all too common in conventional media. There's enough money at stake. Video Games has over 3.3 million subscribers as of this post, that producers can get into fights over sums of money that would have been unthinkable several years ago. Look at that.
Yeah, monetizing your YouTube channel is, of course, very, very popular, and owning the channel itself is, just like owning a company. And when you talk about these large sums of money and just what you can do with the channel and what you can do with an audience, yeah, $20 million doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah, it's amazing. But again, it says that this wouldn't have happened, a few years back. But now,
well, yeah, and like part of the problem that seems to be happening over and over and over again is that it's great that the barrier for entry and higher business in YouTube, like age really isn't age isn't really the most discerning factor. It's not like you have to have so many years of a degree into this and business experience into that and blah blah blah, but people who I'm sure these kids that were fighting over it, I'm sure they were 24, 25, 26, 27 years old. They started the channel by themselves and then they grew their audience, and within a couple of years they're they have profits over $20 million. And yet at the same time they really don't have any business experience behind it, so they feel like they can completely make these deals, cut people out of the loop, not pay people profits, all because when there's really no one older with experience, it makes sense to them. It's like, oh, I'm just going to block him from texting me and I'm going to kick him out of the channel and I get to keep all the money. Yay. And hey, that's the world that you live in with YouTube, is that there's really no professionalism, but there's tons and tons of money flying around.
Well, and maybe as more and more of these things take place, maybe they'll get a better handle on them. It's the only thing I can see at this point.
Well, it's not so much getting a handle on it. It's teaching people that, getting into being a content provider, you really have to start a business. You really have to start thinking of this as a business, protect your business interests, really know who you're going into business with. Because, I feel like they treat it like a game, or they treat it like, oh, I'm just getting into this with my friends and blah, 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 and it'll be fun. And then, one fateful day back in 2012, they just say, forget you. And then there you are in a legal battle over $20 million. These people, these young guys, they have to really know what they're getting into.
Right. And they don't right now. Okay. Do we have time to? Yeah, we do.
We have plenty of time. Plenty of time. So we're going to talk about the Slack X-ray. So for anyone out there who has not heard of the Slack X-ray, shame on you, but neither have I. So the Slack X-ray, and this is, it's an X-ray. It's a very, very powerful X-ray, but it's about to get 10,000 times brighter. Awesome. So the LCLS -2 beam will study nature on an atomic level, because who doesn't like atomic nature? And yes, and they even have a cool little diagram here if you like to see that on the video portion. But so if you think that Stanford's use of the super bright X-ray laser to study the atom level world is impressive, you're in for a treat. So here again, Stanford and its partners have started to work on an upgrade, the LCLS2, which is the Line Coherent Light Source 2, whose second laser beam will typically be 10,000 times brighter and 8,000 times faster than the first. So this feat will require a negative 456 degree Fahrenheit niobium.
Niobium, yes.
Niobium-based superconducting accelerator cavity that conducts electricity with zero losses. So, obviously very, very high tech. And of course, in contrast, the original laser shoots through room temperature copper at a relatively pedestrian 120 pulses per second. So the first X-ray laser isn't going away. Of course, it'll be more useful for other things, but in turn, should lead to discoveries that advance electronics, energy, and medicine. The big challenge is simply waiting for the upgrade, since it won't be ready until sometime in the early 2020s when they're done making this thing. And again, this is all for the sake of research and the future, as I said, in electronics and energy and medicine, and the amount of research that you can do with something like this. But yeah, just in one simple upgrade, that's going to take half a decade to complete. One simple upgrade, 10,000 times brighter, just by one upgrade. Very, very cool.
Very cool. Let's see if we can sneak this in. Outlook Premium. I use Outlook myself. Evidently, there's an Outlook Premium now. It gives you custom email addresses for $3.99 a month, $3.99. News of a planned premium version of Microsoft's Outlook email platform broke a couple of months back, but at the time it was merely described as a pilot program. Well, thanks to a landing page discovered by Paul Thoreau, this is again from Engadget, we know that now that Microsoft's subscription-based service will cost users $3.99 per month. For the price, Outlook.com Premium will give users an ad-free inbox, better calendar sharing, and the ability to choose up to 5 custom email address domains. So if you're a fan of Outlook, but not so down with an Outlook.com or Hotmail.com email address, well, this could cure what ails you. Microsoft's making the first year of the service, which is invite only for now. You can sign up they have a link here for free for users, though it's worth noting that any personalized email domains you create will not automatically be renewed along with your premium or Office 365 subscription. To maintain those addresses after that trial period, you'll have to visit GoDaddy.com, which is Microsoft's official partner for Outlook Premium. So the Outlook Premium will become available. Again, you'll be able to get your own personal email address. I think it's actually kind of cool. It'll cost you $3.99 per month, which is nothing outrageous. But you can get up to 5 personalized email addresses, and again, it'll be in an ad-free inbox. Now, this is their cloud version of Microsoft's Outlook, I believe, Outlook.com. Yes, exactly. I don't use the cloud version. I use the client version. It resides on my computer.
That's because you use the one from 1998.
Not quite, but
you use an old version of Outlook, don't you?
Actually, 2011.
Wow, half a decade.
Yeah, exactly. But I like.
Might be time for an upgrade.
Because it's the latest version for the Mac. They don't have a newer version, so I'm using the.
Well, they do. It's Outlook.com.
Well, yeah, exactly. If you want to move over to a cloud-based,
That's like saying that they don't have a new version of Microsoft Office. They do. It's Office 365.
yeah. If I were to do that, I might as well go to Gmail because I have a Gmail account anyway. I would just move everything over to Gmail at that point. But I still like having everything reside on my computer, as opposed to in the cloud somewhere. But my feelings about that are changing, and because as the cloud becomes more and more reliable, and the fact that you get your email anywhere and everywhere,
I'm surprised they haven't already. Who has an email client anymore? That's a real holdover.
Hey, people still do. Yeah,
people like you.
That's right.
People. I mean, really, there is hardly any reason whatsoever to still have an email client on your computer.
Yeah, you're right. There really isn't. But I have my emails from day one when I first started using email. It was way, way back. I don't know why I would ever want.
Why is that useful?
Why would I ever? I know. I think I'm a hoarder when it comes to emails. I guess certain things I had to let it go. But every once in a while I'll go back and look at like the first few emails that I received, and I can still read them to this day. They're on there.
Yeah, because they're still in English. Language hasn't evolved in 5 years.
No, they're still there. Of course, with the latest version of Outlook, it uses the older version used to use indexing, and that would get all messed up after all. But the latest version that I have doesn't use indexing anymore. It just uses the actual files in the folder, and so it doesn't get corrupted like it used to. It used to get corrupted every once in a while. It was horrible, and it'd take you like a half an hour to rebuild the index. You don't do that anymore.
Nope.
No, that's right. Well, again, I want to thank our first hour guest, Mike McDermott. He was here with the CEO and co-founder of FreshBooks. Again, I want to thank him for being here on the program. It was very
90 seconds.
Coming up on tomorrow's show, it's Tuesday, and we're going to talk to Aetherlight. This is it's the Aetherlight Chronicles of the Resistance, Scarlet City. And you were familiar with this, so we're going to have Tim Clary, who is the world builder of this game, based on the Bible. Wow. Okay. And you haven't played this game, have you?
I have not.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like I'm a little bit outside the age range.
Anyway, it's going to be here in the first hour of the show. We're going to talk about Aetherlight. And then in the second of the hour, we're going to do more computer and technology news. Brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Well, hey, but that wraps it up. Thank you all so much for being here with us. And Ben and I are going to be here again tomorrow. Same time, same place, same channel. So until tomorrow afternoon, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Have a good one, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Woohoo! 10 seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, again, thanks everybody for watching our live video stream, and Ben and I will see you tomorrow with Aetherlight. Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.